Smoky air, now the highest concern ever for what it's doing to our health and what you can do to stay protected.
And strong winds pushed the Carpenter 1 fire across a road overnight. The conditions firefighters are facing now, and if the weather will ever be in their favor.
Plus, a dangerous situation, the minute-by-minute race against Mother Nature for more than 1,000 firefighters who are working on the front lines right now. Thanks for being with us. You can see and smell the smoke from just about anywhere in the valley. Some people say it smells kind of like a campfire outside.
Yeah, it does. And crews continue to fight a back-and-forth battle against the Carpenter 1 fire. Yesterday, unpredictable winds drove the flames across Kyle Canyon Road. 6 structures were lost in the Prospect Ranch area. Containment dropped from 15% to 10%.
The blaze grew by about 5,000 acres, bringing now the total land scorched to 25,000 acres. That's about 40 square miles. Fire lines protecting homes in the Rainbow subdivision appear to, though, be holding strong. The cost of the fight is estimated at about $6 million, but that's still growing.
We have live team coverage tonight. Sharie Harvin looking into today's air quality and its health effects. But we start with Brian Brennan for the very latest. Brian?
Incident managers say fighting a wildfire like this one is like playing a game of chess. Losing ground in some areas could help them down the line. Now, firefighters are continuing to fight a blaze that is raging down the Kyle Canyon Road. Yesterday, it crossed over that road. It's basically the main way in and out of Kyle Canyon. The fire is in a dangerous position where if the winds don't cooperate, the flames could start running uphill towards the many properties there. But officials say the fire moving to that area can actually be a good thing. The land is flatter and there's less forest plant life. Crews were able to bulldoze a barrier around 400 acres of the fire.
When it came down into the area at Highway 157, there's now some other road systems in there that we can use to gain access to the fire, and that's really huge because the engines now can get in there.
The incident management team is hoping to increase its firefighting ability by bringing in a retardant mixing station. The station would allow helicopters to be able to drop in and pick up that mixture on the go, and it could drop that retardant into areas where vehicles and even planes can't reach. Now, there are over 1,000 firefighters working on the blaze. We did have one report of a supporting staff member on the Pahrump side in one of these kind of command centers going home with heat exhaustion. But so far, the firefighters have been reporting no injuries. Reporting live, Brian Brennan, 8 News Now.
That's what I want to ask about, Brian. You were up near the fire line just the other day. How are the firefighters dealing with all the heat and the wind?
You know what? It's hot and dry, like you said, really the worst conditions they could be in. Some working 16 hours, others camping out all day. So those conditions are making an already tough job even tougher.
All right, Brian, thanks.
Well, all that smoke across the valley causing problems for people who have respiratory diseases. In fact, there's a warning today now through Thursday as an air quality alert is now in place.
And this is the highest level of public warning by Clark County's Department of Air Quality. The smoke and ash have mainly been a problem in the northwest, but now as the fire spreads, the bad air is on the move. And Sharie Harvin found out who's at the greatest risk here. Sharie?
The pollution actually poses a huge threat for the infants, elderly, anyone with any respiratory disease, guys. But even if you're healthy and you have to be outside for hours, Clark County air quality experts say wear a mask, just like this one. You know, we've been seeing ash in the air from the fire. Today's alert, though, was issued because of particles in the air you can't see.
Your adrenal glands are asleep.
Breathing is an exercise most people take for granted.
But right now, I want to ride you on 7.5 milligrams.
But not Kathleen Rivers. Since childhood, she suffered from chronic asthma.
Feels like you can't get air, like you're suffocating.
For her, those symptoms could describe a regular day, but today is far from it, and the air is so bad the county issued its highest air quality alert from Carpenter 1. The wildfire's thick smoke is drifting across the valley, carrying unhealthy levels of air pollution, tormenting people like Kathleen.
If I stay out in the air, that I'll probably have an asthma attack and that my lungs will start closing down.
And you're getting your Zolar.
Kathleen isn't the only one rushing to doctors like Jim Christensen for relief. The pulmonary disease specialist says offices are swamped.
I'm booked up because I have urgent appointments because people are having lots of postnasal drip, lots of drainage, lots of coughing. It's triggering their asthma.
While anyone who's frail is at risk, Clark County's air quality specialist Russell Roberts says anyone could be affected.
people with asthma, people with emphysema, the old, the young. But even healthy people on a day like today should think about what they're doing, maybe do whatever they're planning on doing indoors to the extent that they can.
Deep breaths.
As for Kathleen, each deep breath is a gift, one she will never take lightly.
I take my medication, stay compliant. And I have an air purifier in my house, and that helps keep it. Yeah, just don't go outdoors.
And the county's Department of Air Quality also says to keep your windows closed if possible. Run your AC inside your house. And I mean, it really filters out a lot of the dust and the particles in the air. Also use those allergy medications. Can't stress that enough.
So we said again, this is the highest alert they can give. It's in effect until Thursday, but they're saying the fire may not be contained for more than a week, though.
That's absolutely right, which means this alert could run a lot longer. Literally, Clark County is monitoring this day by day. They say a lot happens overnight, so tomorrow we'll find out if it could extend through the weekend or possibly if it may downgrade. We'll find out.
Got to take precautions out there.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Sharie.
You bet.
Darren Miller has been tracking the conditions since the fire started 10 days ago.
We are bringing him in a little bit early this afternoon. Darren, what can you tell us?
All right, so it's now up to an alert, as we just mentioned, and you have to remember that we've now been under smoke advisory now for 8 days in a row. But now, because the smoke is now imminent, we're all dealing with this situation now because it's beginning to spread into the entire valley. Now we're under an alert here until Thursday. So there's a live look outside from our sunset camera. There's the information. So again, a smoke alert again through today and all day tomorrow for unhealthy levels of particles of smoke because of obviously this fire up towards Mount Charleston. There's a look at the situation. Up until yesterday, most of the smoke had been over the canyon up towards the north and the west, but overnight and all day yesterday and today, it has been kind of spreading into the entire valley, and that's why we have an alert underway for us at least through tomorrow. 108, the current temperature at the airport, very hot once again today. You head out towards the strip at 107, so it's still pretty hot out there. And right now, Henderson, the current temperature at 103. There's some good news and some bad news in the 7-day forecast. It all has to deal with monsoon moisture, the possibility of rain. We'll take a look at that in the forecast in a few minutes. Paul and Denise, back to you guys for right now.
Darren, thank you. As you just said, the smoke used to be up in the northwest. Now it's moved over a larger part of the valley.
Yeah, Ken Smith is in Chopper 8, and while we can't get too close to the fire itself, he can give us a certainly very different perspective. Ken?
Yeah, we're about as close as we're going to get here to the fire. We up to feet, and we're right over the 215.
Apologize for that, having some problems with Ken's signal, but in fact he's been grounded because of flight situations, low visibility, so we'll try and get back to him with a better signal coming up here in a couple of minutes. All right, well, for those battling the Carpenter 1 fire, we would like to express our gratitude. So join us at facebook.com/communitypride8 and post your stories and your photos just to say thanks for what they're doing out there.
They're putting in at least 16-hour days out there, and the weather, the temperatures are really hard to do this all day long in this sort of heat.
The American Red Cross says they don't need any more donations. They're pretty good for right now, unless it's in the form of money, and they can always use that. But what they can always use is a thank you, and we forget to say that. So firefighters and volunteers, 8 News Now, in our community, we salute you and thank you for what you're doing.
All right, smoke all over the valley, and it is hot, but we have good news coming from the weather department. We are in for a pretty significant cool down.
Yeah, really. In fact, we're going to cool things down, Paul, tomorrow, and we're getting the arrival of a lot of moisture kind of spilling into the area. So that's the setup, the fuel that we need to see some rain here on the radar at some point, maybe tomorrow and in through Friday. So that might be the good news, although we could see too much rain up towards the mountains, and that might be a problem. We'll take a look at that here in a few seconds. So there's a look outside. Once again, there's the fire, all the smoke around the area, smoke advisory, alert smoke advisory in effect through Thursday. So here's the radar currently, and you see all the moisture streaming in from the south into the north here into the state now. So humidity levels now up to about 20–25%. So the moisture is now slowly pushing into the area here, and now we're getting ready for a little lift in the atmosphere at some point tomorrow that might produce some scattered showers and thunderstorms around the area. There's a closer look at what's going on right now. We've got a lot of cloud cover down towards Searchlight, maybe a sprinkle or two in Searchlight. Most is actually Virga, which is actually not reaching the ground. Over towards Sandy Valley, some light sprinkles may be there, but again tomorrow though, a much better chance here of seeing some rain on the radar. Here's a quick look at Mount Charleston, maybe a couple sprinkles up there. Again, most of that is probably Virga, which is not actually reaching the ground. So here we go as far as the weather headlines. Smoke advisory in effect through Thursday. Monsoon moisture has arrived, so here's the prognosis for us. We're looking at a 40% chance of storms tomorrow here in the valley through Friday, a 50% chance for the mountains. Again, the hazard there is lightning, erratic winds, and flooding. And look at this. As far as flooding, for tomorrow, folks, there is a flash flood warning that'll go into effect all day for Spring Mountains, Mount Charleston, and Red Rock. So this could help us out. That means there's a potential for a lot of rain there, although we could see some flooding, and that is a concern as well, because take a look at this. Flash flooding and wildfires. Fires turn the soil into a pavement-like layer that repels water. And when that happens, the rain does not infiltrate the deep soil, and it begins to run off. That leads to flooding. So flash flood watch tomorrow in effect for the Spring Mountains, Red Rock, and Mount Charleston. We need some rain. We might get some, but then we might have to deal with some flooding and some erratic winds as well. And take a look at the forecast here. So it looks like we're going to pick up some rain here in the valley. Again, this is through Friday and through Saturday up towards the mountains, and that would all be good news for us here in the valley and up towards Mount Charleston. We'll get down to 85 tonight. Slight chance of a storm with areas of smoke already all over the place, obviously. 97, so it will be cooler tomorrow. Cloudy and cooler tomorrow. A 40% chance of a couple storms around the area. South winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, so the cooler air helps the firefighters as well. 97 tomorrow, 95 on Friday. So we're going to be in the 90s here tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. That'll help things out up towards the mountains. Still chances for storms Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. A little bit warmer, 102 on Sunday, 104 on Monday, and back to 106 on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So that flash flood watch in effect tomorrow means that the mountains have the possibility of picking up a lot of rain that might lead to some flooding concerns as well, and erratic winds and maybe some lightning. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that tomorrow maybe Mount Charleston gets just pounded with a lot of rain that might help the firefighters up there as far as the mountains.
Yeah. And that could be an issue until we get some regrowth. That could take
exactly.
a while.
Right. There you go.
Thanks, Darren.
Okay.
Ken Smith is in Sharie. He's still checking out the smoke plume from Carpenter 1 fire. Hopefully we have a little better signal now. Ken?
Yeah, hi and good afternoon again. Yeah, we're up here pretty high. We're about 8,000 feet, and it's interesting that we're actually hovering right around the area of the 215 near Sahara, but we're looking off over the top of the ridgeline here, right around La Madre Mountain there. That's going to be kind of on the north side of Kyle Canyon, and from a long distance standpoint, you can see some of the flames there, just very small. We're a good 15 miles away from the mountain itself. Now, we did catch this here real briefly. Here's some earlier video we shot from Sharie. One of the fire retardant tanker planes actually dropping some of that fire retardant down. So they're continuing to fight this fire. They got multiple helicopters, up to 9 helicopters, 4 tankers. One of them is one of those DC-10 type of planes, and those DC-10 planes could drop over 11,000 gallons of water at any given time. So as I pull out here from our live shot from Sharie, you can see that smoke plume continuing to go up. But it seems like it's looking a lot better than it has the last couple of days. The winds have obviously shifted from the area of the southwest. They're kind of more going straight up there, as you can see from this shot, which is definitely a good sign, potentially. And also the moisture content and even some clouds. Looks like some clouds are starting to build over Mount Charleston itself, so that definitely could be some good news. Real quickly here, we're going to just go to one traffic camera, and we'll show you some activity along US 95. This is going to be right around the area of Las Vegas Boulevard. Some very slow and go traffic in that area. Reporting live here this afternoon, looking off toward the west, towards Mount Charleston. I'm Ken Smith, 8 News Now.
All right, Ken, much better signal. Thanks for that.
Now, Nevada's first choice for news. This is 8 News Now at 4:30.
To many people who don't live in the fire zone, the Carpenter 1 fire is nothing more than an irritant. But there are long-term ramifications from a fire like this. Listen to part of a conversation I had with a man who knows the damage it's doing up there and why it's been so difficult to stop. He's an ecologist who says we put so much effort into preventing fires that now there's an unusual amount of undergrowth, and that's fueling the fire, making things worse.
Typically, in natural conditions without very much fuel, fires would just kind of burn along the ground and just burn the underbrush and maybe scorch the trees a little bit, but usually not kill them. And what we're seeing is this fire is just so severe, there's so much fuel up there that the trees themselves are dying. Smaller animals can seek some refuge in the soil. Some can escape by running away. But with a fire that's this intense, that's pretty hard to be insulated from and run away from. But certainly in moving forward, there can be a variety of techniques and activities that we can use to try to limit the post-fire damage. Soil erosion and mudslides, are big concerns for humans as well as ecologically. So, we can do things like trying to put mulch down and reseed and replant to try to limit that damage.
Now, that was Scott Abella. He's an ecologist who works with UNLV. He says in this kind of fire, with the undergrowth and the trees burn, it can take hundreds of years for the natural habitat to replace itself. And in the meantime, there's the danger of mudslides and flooding, as Darren alluded to earlier.
I've never heard this kind of theory before.
It's been a discussion in Northern California for a while.
Huh. All right. Well, Ken Smith giving us another look at that plume of smoke for this half hour. Ken?
Yeah, you know what, Denise? The smoke plume is not nearly as bad as it's been over the last few days. The winds seem to be a little bit lighter, and the air tankers with a little bit improved visibility up here this afternoon have been really getting in here and dropping a lot of water and a lot of fire retardant. Both the Sky Cranes, Sikorsky helicopters, and of course those big tanker planes that actually carry some of that fire retardant. Here's some earlier video that we shot from Chopper 8. One of those planes dropping some of that fire retardant out there on the fire here. This is kind of just above the Trout Canyon area there, above Trout Canyon, but well west and kind of a little bit to the southeast of Kyle Canyon, near an area called La Madre Mountain and the Wilson Ridge area. That's the area that we're talking about. And you can see way off in the distance some of those flames, and there's that Sikorsky helicopter that was flying towards the fire. They got a bunch of those up there, and they're continuing to fight this fire. They'll continue to fly over until about sunset. We'll have another update on this fire and more live pictures from Chopper 8 coming up on 8 News Now at 5 o'clock. Guys, I'll send it back downstairs.
All right, Ken. Thanks very much. Let's check in again with Darren.
All right, thanks a lot. So we're keeping our fingers crossed to possibly pick up some good rains tomorrow over the mountains, minus the erratic winds, minus the lightning, and minus the flooding. And we have a 50% chance of seeing some scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow for Mount Charleston, Red Rock, and the Spring Mountains. So here's what's going on currently outside. Another view from all the smoke out there. That smoke advisory in effect through tomorrow. So let's talk about the heat here. Today is now the 15th day in a row to be above the 100-degree mark. That streak might end tomorrow, probably a better chance on Friday, because we're going to cool down here with all the cloud cover, the humidity, and the rain possibility that's heading our way. So 108, the current temperature out at the airport right now, 102 for you in Henderson. Other numbers, another in neighborhood temperatures. You can see Lake Mead, much cooler than yesterday at 96. Fort Apache, 103. El Dorado, Red Rock, you're in the mid-90s. East Flamingo, you're at 104. Again, that normal high now is 104 degrees, and you can see some of you actually a little bit cooler than that. You can see out towards Silverado Ranch at 102. West Alta, you're at 99. Charleston, Hollywood, you're at 100 degrees. 80s to the north, Tonopah, 85. Pioche, you're at 94. Laughlin, much cooler than yesterday, currently at only 101. The same for Amogosu Valley, and then all the way down towards Blue Diamond, the current temperature at only 99 degrees. So there's that smoke alert for today and tomorrow. Again, we've still got all that unhealthy levels of smoke up there, small particles, and that will continue at least through tomorrow and might be extended into the weekend as well. So here comes the moisture. We need this. This will get the possibility of getting some storms on the radar at some point tomorrow. Hopefully I'm not going to get any erratic winds or any lightning or any flooding, but you can see the moisture kind of streaming in from the south now. There's a couple of sources that are providing the moisture. Closer look at Mount Charleston right now. Maybe a sprinkle or two, that's about it, but a lot of cloud cover. And tomorrow for Mount Charleston, it will be a lot cooler with the possibility of seeing some rain. So there's where the moisture is coming from, over towards the east there, down near Baja California, and the remnants and leftovers of Eric that was once a tropical storm. All that moisture is heading our way. That gives us a good chance for rain Thursday through Saturday. Now here's the only concern. For the Spring Mountains and Mount Charleston and Red Rock tomorrow, all day, a flash flood watch will be in effect. Means that there's a possibility of getting a lot of rain, and then we could see some mudslides as well. So we keep our fingers crossed for that won't happen. 85 by tomorrow morning. Slight chance of a storm tonight with areas of smoke. Forecast tomorrow, it will be cooler. That should be nice with a high of only 97, cloudy and cooler, with a 40% chance of seeing some storms on the radar. And then there's a look at the 7-day. I think we'll be in the 90s through Saturday. We start to dry things out a little bit on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So hopefully tomorrow and on Friday we'll get some rain here in the valley and possibly up towards the mountains, and minus the erratic winds and the lightning. That would be very nice.
Firefighters need a break.
They really do.
Yeah.
Thanks, Darren.
Okay.